Kellyanne Conway say, no, we are seeing a different Donald Trump. Best week of the campaign in the last week, and he's reinforcing that with new policies, while Hillary Clinton promises more of the same.
Well, George, we're not seeing a pivot. Donald Trump himself said this was not a pivot. He wants to double down on letting Donald Trump be Donald Trump. That's why he's brought in to run his campaign someone who ran a so-called news organization, Breitbart News, which has peddled some of the worst conspiracy theories around. News, that quote-unquote news that's been defended white supremacists, that's been sexist, racist, the worst of our politics. So I think we should be very concerned. I would also point out that Paul Manafort has been pushed out, but that doesn't mean that the Russians have been pushed out of this campaign. The hand of the Kremlin has been at work in this campaign for some time. It's clear that they are supporting Donald Trump. But we now need Donald Trump to explain to us the extent to which the hand of the Kremlin is at the core of his own campaign. There's a web of financial interests that have not been disclosed, and there are real questions being raised about whether Donald Trump himself is just a puppet for the Kremlin in this race.
You're saying Donald Trump is a puppet for the Kremlin?
Well, real questions are being raised about that. Again, there's a web of financial ties to the Russians that he refuses to disclose. We've seen over the last few weeks him parroting Vladimir Putin in his own remarks. We saw the Republican Party platform change. We saw Donald Trump talk about leaving NATO and leaving our Eastern European allies vulnerable to a Russian attack. The gentleman he brought with him to his security briefing just last week is someone who's on the payroll of the Russia Times, which is basically a propaganda arm of the Kremlin. He was sitting 2 seats away from Vladimir Putin at their 10th anniversary gala. There are a lot of questions here, and we need Donald Trump to disclose all of his financial ties and whether his advisors are having meetings with the Kremlin.
A lot of questions this week also about the Clinton